So this is a very quick podcast about how muscles work. I've tried to make it as straightforward as possible. So first of all, we're going to talk about concentric and eccentric, and quite often students are taught incorrectly. Here in the model that I've made, we've got two bones, could be any bones, we've got a muscle, it could be biceps, it could be the hamstrings. It's lifting a very heavy weight such as my pay packet or a handbag. On the way up, the muscle gets shorter, that's a concentric contraction. To put the handbag down, it's the same muscle controlling the movement, but it's doing it eccentrically. Quite often students are taught that going down must be triceps, and it's not. It's the same muscle. It's only biceps going up and only biceps coming down. So you may say to yourself, well, when does triceps work? So if you had something like an air balloon filled with helium, that would tend to go upwards. That would mean that you would need to use your triceps to push the balloon down. So triceps does work if there's an external force to overcome. You'll do that more in practicals. It is a tricky concept. We're going to talk about sliding filament theory. Sliding filament theory is quite a difficult concept, and I've tried to make it straightforward here. Actin and myosin are two proteins that hook onto each other. The myosin is the red head. I think of it as a guy in a boat rowing along a river, and as he rows himself along, he pulls himself along and the muscle gets shorter. It's actually more complex than that, because you've got multiple people pulling in different directions and pulling the river towards itself, and the effect of this is to shorten the muscle. We also need to talk about active and passive insufficiency. This is the concept whereby a muscle can't do two things at once, a bit like me really. So if you ask a muscle to contract over two joints like we've got in the illustration here, it can't cope. It's almost like there are too many oars in the water, and the muscle just can't do a decent job over both joints. Passive insufficiency is when the muscle can't stretch over two joints, and if you think about the muscles that are injured in life, it's always the two joint muscles. It's the hamstrings, it's rectus femoris, that kind of thing. It's always the two joint muscles that seem to be injured because they just can't do two things at once.